part of the Ask Sue show tonight. Usually, as you know, when I start the show, I always say that obviously I'm in Blackpool in the UK, and I tell you that what time it is, which is midnight. And I usually tell you what a beautiful day it is outside, if it's sunny or it's raining or whatever. But tonight it's not. No, it's pitch black, and most normal people are in bed. That'll be me straight out of the equation. The normal part went straight out, really. So, obviously, we have got, let's welcome back to the show, Dr. Turi. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to go and keep going that beautiful trend, because I'm practically sure that from previous experiences, people are just listening and enjoying that.
Do you know what? I always say, right, how quick time goes. I mean, when I first started talking to Lisa, who I'm literally bring on in a minute, when I first started talking to her about literally bringing you on the show, I said, I think we should do a 4-hour show. And it was like, but then I'm thinking, goodness, how are we going to talk for 4 hours? And then I think, no, to be fair, like you say, I'm a Gemini. You do very well at talking. I've seen all your YouTube channels and everything. And I'm fascinated. So if ever you think I've gone really, really quiet, I am just fascinated and totally switched on. So, but I need to literally bring somebody onto the show with us, okay? So we're going to have 3 of us to co-host, a little triangle.
Well,
but it is thanks to this beautiful, amazing lady. She's going to get so big-headed now. But it was her that Lisa that literally said to me, you need to get Dr. Turi on the show, and she wasn't wrong. Lisa, hi, how are you doing?
Hello. Thanks for having me on. Hello, Dr. Turi.
Pleasure.
Yes, she's loud and clear. I like it. I can hear you very good, Lisa. Can you hear me too good?
Perfectly, yeah, definitely.
Wonderful.
I follow you religiously.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. I do have a lot of followers. Where are you? Are you in the States or are you in the UK?
I'm in Philadelphia.
Oh, in Philadelphia, so you're next door.
Yes,
you're
not
in the
too far.
All right. Well, I do have people all over the world. Australia. In fact, I'm going to be going to Australia. I have a few engagements to do there. Egypt, a couple of cruises to do. So there is a lot of things going on here. So
I think we share the same birthday.
A
different year, but I think it's the same, February 26th.
Oh, you were born February 26th, like me?
Yes.
Wow, so you're definitely my celestial sister. Of course, not the same year.
Do you have Mercury in Aquarius?
Yep, I was born with Mercury conjuncting Jupiter in Aquarius in the 3rd house. My rising is Sagittarius.
Wow. My rising is Pisces, double Pisces.
Well, I'm a Pisces sun, and that's why we vibrate at such a high cosmic speed. And, I always say to my students, a magnet will attract a piece of wood. So you're highly spiritual, superhuman, and it's so glad to be with you and to be with Sue. Now, what year were you born? I mean, what's your
I was
dragon?
born 1956.
Okay. So that gives
21
you
again.
Well, yeah, I think the head of my dragon, I believe, is in Sag, and the tail is in Gemini.
Well, that is absolutely true because
it's the opposite of yours, correct?
No. My dragon is Aries.
Okay. Your dragon's Aries. Oh.
Yeah, Aries dragon's head means I was born a leader of the mind. Aries was the head. Okay. You, a Sagittarius, means you're a teacher, you're a philosopher, you have a lot of past life as the Mayans, the Incas, the Sumerian. Your dragon's head, being Sagittarius, is half a man and half a horses. And it represents all the values that what you have learned as a medicine woman during your past lives. So you were dedicating the stars, natural healing, rocks, plants, herbs, UFOs. You carry with you a lot of past life with the Mayan, put it this way.
You're amazing. And I have to tell you how impressed I'm with Dr. Turi. Years ago, when I was about 20 years old, there was a past life reader, and I was working at a festival. I used to work for the city, and they had a medieval festival. So I was working the festival, and they had a gentleman there. At the time, he had to be in his 80s, and he was giving past life readings. And I walked in, and he just took a look at me, and he sat down in front of me, nothing, and he told me his past life. He said, healer. He said, teacher. He said, worked a lot with herbs in the Orient, and he also said there was a lot of other past lives, too, where I was teaching and working with herbs. And he goes, he goes, you don't really care for birds, do you? I said, well, I have a fear of bigger birds like pigeons and big birds. He goes, do you know why? I go, no, I don't. I was never attacked by one. And he said, past life, he said, let me see, it was probably around 1532, 1533. He goes, you were meddling with some herbs and some tinctures. And evidently I pissed somebody off because he said I was beheaded and that they put my head on a stake at the entrance to the village or to the town, and the birds pecked at it. And he said, you had that in your consciousness. You still had that. And once he said that, that sort of released. I still had the fear, but not as bad as I had. But you were right about working with the different herbs and healing, and I guess somebody probably misunderstood what I was trying to do.
Well, you carry with you the trauma of all your past lives, and sometimes some of my patients tell me they hate animals and they're afraid of dogs or anything like that. So I tell them during your past life you've been eaten by something that had fur. Pretty much the same thing than you as far as birds are concerned. Yes, you definitely. You've been hanged, and then basically, that's the disconnection between your body and your head. You were not decapitated.
Exactly.
You were hanged. That's why you might have also allergies or problem on your respiratory system. So you got to be cautious there.
I do have allergies. You're absolutely right.
I know. That's a curse. I'm telling you, I can read people to a very, very deep level.
Oh my God! And that's why he's a doctor.
Well,
It's strange. Sometimes I can wear certain necklaces and they're okay. And there's one that hangs down. It's actually a pendant and it's some crystal. Whenever I wear that, even though it's hanging low and it's not tight around my neck, I feel like I'm choking. I cannot get that thing off fast enough.
Yeah, I know.
It must be the crystal is holding something or it's activating something.
Right. Yeah, you're connecting with the superconscious. During your past life, you have to remember the Spaniards, they destroyed all the native, the Indians, and in order to build their religion and the Christianity and so forth. And as a medicine, you were not actually a female. You were a guy, and you were a leader. You were not a female. You were a wizard. In order for them to stop you talking, stop you, and stop the process of building these churches, which you were against, that's why you've been hanged.
I believe that.
Yeah,
I totally. I believe that. I believe I'm more spiritual. I think my own opinion is a lot of organized religions are fear-based, and I can't resonate to that.
Yeah, all religion were created by the reptilians. It's a group of.
But I'm interested in getting your take on this, and Sue knows we're going to talk about this. I was researching Dr. Ian Stevenson, who's deceased, and he used to run I think it was the University of Virginia, where they would research psychic phenomena and the paranormal and metaphysical happenings, and he tried to say how birthmarks were a sign of past life. Of course, they closed down that department because there's no funding for things that make sense, right?
Exactly.
So he said how birthmarks are a sign of something happened in a past life, especially a certain type of a birthmark, if it's a little raised or if it's very prominent. So in my process of researching Dr. Ian Stevenson, because I have a birthmark on my back that I had always felt like it was there for a reason other than just a birthmark, I became interested in tattoos. With some people, if they're done consciously, they can be spiritual birthmarks. And I did read in one of your blogs or your YouTubes, you were talking about a tattoo you had that's actually changing. I thought that was fascinating.
Oh yes, the line on my tattoo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an eagle. I have an eagle on the left side, and the tattoo on my forearm. I did it myself when I was about 14 years old. It was a road that led towards the sun, and as I got older, after my cancer surgery, I decided to revamp those tattoos because they didn't look good anymore. And this guy, instead of a road, he put the ocean and the sunset over the horizon. And then after the blue, which represent the water, there is a line that grew. I don't know how, where, but I think if you Google something extraordinary is happening to me, it's in one of my YouTube videos. You could see the pictures, and it's not the cat. I didn't mutilate myself. It's just it keeps growing. It's the end of the line stop at the bottom of the tattoo, but this line keeps going. So I shave my hair to take the pictures, and it's very, very obvious that it seems to. It's an extension of my life, I guess. It's magical. I have no explanation for it. You have to look at the pictures and you have to read the story to really understand the depth of this subconscious message.
You're absolutely right, because I recently wrote a book about a year and a half ago called Conscious Ink, The Hidden Meaning of Tattoos. And some people, if they're done consciously and they're not just you go pick out a picture and you put it on, or you do something without giving it any thought, because you're wearing this almost as a talisman. So this is going to connect into your consciousness. It's this symbol that you're wearing. A lot of people don't realize it starts to be activated by what's in your consciousness. So the tattoo that you have evidently really woke something up, or it's showing you something about your life path.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But as far as the eagle is concerned, it's coming from a recurrent dream that I had when I was growing up. I mean, for years I had the same dream, and I used to wake up sweating and crying and shaking. You know, when you arrive on this dense physical world and you're a child, the filter from your past life is very weak. In other words, you already, depending on how you end up your life, the memories are they are deep and encrusted just right there on the superconscious. So this is what happened, the dream that I'm going to explain to you, because I also do dream interpretations. So I was laying down in a cave, and then the table was like a rock, and then all around me on the side of the cave, I had all my family and all my friends, and all of them were wearing white robes. And then behind me, as I'm laying on my back, I'm not attached. I'm just laying down. I can't move. I'm very cold, so I can see by looking behind at the entrance of the cave. I can see the mountain full of snow, and I see eagles flying by. And then I see 3 Chinese soldiers coming into the cave. They look at everybody. They have a smile on their face. They take their long knife and they plunged it into my body, and they are literally killing me with their long knives. This dream made no sense when I was a child, but as I grew up and I read a little bit more about history, especially when it comes to China, the Chinese invaded Tibet, and they killed all the lamas, all the top spiritual leaders this way. I had no idea.
Oh, wow.
So that is my last life. I was actually a monk in a cave, and that's why when I was like 12 or 13 years old, I wanted to go in a cave all the time. So
you still had like some subconscious in your deeper consciousness. You had that memory.
Yes, that was very, very fresh, and for many years I had the same dream because that's how it is. I was lucky enough to remember that. I also remember my first step. I see my dad holding me. No, my mother is holding me, and my dad is like 2 or 3 feet away, and he's calling me, and I can see myself walking towards my dad, my first steps. I remember that too. Meantime, I don't remember any faces, any telephone. I have no memory at all for anything that does not preoccupy my mind. But I would never ever forget that Sue is a Gemini and you are born February 26th. That's going to be for the rest of my life. Everybody that I've met all my life since I am a child, I remember their birth date. But I won't remember their name. I won't remember their telephone number. I won't remember direction. I do not get lost into the immensity of the universe. It's like I am at home in the stars. But when it comes to this dense physical world, stupid telephone number, I can't. Even my wife owns a cell phone for 10 years. She had a cell phone. I do not know a cell phone number, and I read it 1,000,000 times. It doesn't register.
No, I was listening to the first half of the show. I was fascinated when you were talking about the UFO experiences. I had an experience myself, and I'm sure other people had them, but they don't realize it. I remember I was probably about 3 years old. No one was home except my mother, my older sister, myself. My father worked night work, just the three of us in the house. So my mother used to like to stay up late, God rest her soul, and watch, I think it was Jack Parr at the time. I don't even think Johnny Carson was on. And she told me and my sister, you girls go up to bed. You can sleep in my room, because she wanted us just to get out of her way so she could watch television. So we went up, and we were in my mom and dad's big bed. And I remember, now I just always thought it was a dream, up until about 6 or 7 years ago, standing up, and there were three hooded beings. And I lifted my arms up, and I went with them, and I told to tell my mother they took me out the window. And I just thought, why would I remember this dream? Well, my sister, who is very straight, she's a school teacher, and, she believes but doesn't believe. We were having a discussion. I was at her home, and she had a book on her coffee table. I think it was Sylvia Browne. I said, I thought you didn't believe in this stuff. And we got to talking. I said, weird happenings used to happen at Mom and Dad's house. I used to see the ghost of a little man with a brown hat, but he wouldn't talk to me, but he would just sit and rock in a chair. And she goes, yeah, weird things did happen at Mom and Dad's house. She goes, I remember one night going to bed and seeing two hooded beings come into the room, and I put the covers over my head. I'm like, wait. I said there were three of them. And the fact that she saw them and I saw them, I now realize that wasn't a dream.
Nope.
Three hooded beings. I don't remember anything other than I just went off with them. I don't have any other memory of what happened. And the only thing I do remember, the next day when I woke up, I had what I thought was chewing gum on the side of my cheek. We weren't allowed to chew gum before we went to bed. And wow. I just remember that, and it's a very vivid memory.
And how old were you?
I was probably about 3-4 years old. I wasn't yet in school.
Yeah. Well, you see, the filter between the superconscious is not developed yet. You don't have a lot of negativity, a lot of skepticism that interfere with the divine or with the different vibrational systems. So, for some reason, you were at the right time, at the right place, at the right circumstances to be able to see those little entities, which are part of a humongous amount of spiritual energies that hang around in the fourth dimension for very specific purpose. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're there.
A lot of people just choose to live in the third dimension, which is the hard dimension. They don't realize the other ones are opened up to us. And I think if we really recognized our own power, we wouldn't be so hung up on the material world. A lot of people, they're just so disempowered by religion and politics, they give up on themselves.
Yeah, well, it's very difficult when you see what's going on around you, when the technology is misapplied and abused by the reptilians. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Sad. Yeah. But,
what about this new trend? It's called transhumanism, where people are actually trying to be more like machines. That's pretty scary, where they're just going to delegate themselves over to that.
We are moving on that direction with artificial intelligence. This is exactly what the extraterrestrials are about. They are self-duplicating artificial intelligences, soulless, and they have lost the spirit. They have lost the connection with the divine, and they are what you call the reptilians. And humanity is at that verge where the rational, the practicality, the scientific discovery are going to take over. And in a few years from now, if you talk about the spirit or religion, they're going to kill you.
You're right.
It's sad. We're moving in that direction. Well, it's something that Draco is telling me that I will explain to you my other UFO experience that is extraordinarily dramatic for my wife, because they took the fetus of our child. But,
oh, my God, Dr. Turi, I had a similar experience. Are you going to tell yours, or is it a private experience?
Oh, no, I'm going to tell you how it is, because it's public now. So basically, it's when I arrived in the United States and I finalized myself. I got a job and I got everything. I got married because I needed to get my green card, and I thought it was going to be just for a while, but it lasted about 12 years. And that day, I will never forget the date. The date was August 11, 1991. You know, and the experience I had before with my brother was November 11, 1981. So, see, number 11, 10 years later. So basically, that night she says to me, I want to go. She was very, very attractive. She was a model, and she wanted to go to a beauty pageant that was in Anaheim in California. And then I said to her, well, we're going to have to go to bed early so you can get your beauty sleep, and then maybe you win that thing. Anyway, we went to sleep early. And again, in the middle of the night, she woke up. She started to scream. In 10, 11 years of marriage with that woman, and never, ever seen her in such a mental state. She was on the floor in a fetus position. She was crying. She was trembling. She was like a serious panic attack, asking me to look everywhere into the house, under the bed, in every cupboard, in the basement. I said, what's wrong with you? I thought I had to call 911 and take her to the funny farm because I was scared to watch her behaving this way. Totally unusual. And for good reasons. We found out the day after. Anyway, no, weeks later. So basically, the next morning we woke up around 7 o'clock, and I said to her, do you still want to go? Because we didn't sleep too much. She said, yeah. She said, well, you know you're not going to win. You look like hell. She didn't like that too much, but she said, okay, let's go. I don't care. I want to go. Okay, so I said, no problem. So, and I recall very well, it was exactly 8 a.m. I was just finishing to fill up my car with gas. She was inside of the car, okay, and then we took off. So in other words, it was about 5 minutes past 8. I was on Highway 5 going north on the way to Catella exit, because I had the plan. I was supposed to exit in Catella, and then from there go to the big hotel where the show was, and that was around Anaheim or Disneyland. Anyway, so we were driving, and then I asked her very gently, I said, hey, honey, what happened to you last night? Because I wanted to know what the hell's going on in case she does it again. She said, oh, I don't want to talk about it, and she turned the radio on. So she was really, really tormented. Okay. So we kept driving. I didn't push. We kept driving. And the last thing I remember is driving under a bridge. And the sign, the name of that I saw was Jamboree Road. That's the last thing I remember, Jamboree Road, very clearly. And then after that, I find myself at 30 miles per hour in the middle of the highway on those bumps, walking me up, and my wife screaming at me. She said, what the hell are you doing at 30 miles per hour? Pick up your speed. I don't want to be late. I said, oh, I'm sorry. And then just before that, we drove like into a cloud, which I blamed the marine layer in San Diego, and I didn't feel the bumps in the wheel. And then next thing you know, I'm 30 miles per hour on waking up. Okay. So I said to her, honey, I don't recognize anything. I need to go out. She goes, what are you talking about? I haven't seen the sign of Disneyland or Anaheim or anything yet. You're going to make me late. Pick up your speed. Come on. I don't want to be late. Okay. Now, she said, you're not going to be late, but I don't recognize anything. I don't know where the hell I am. So finally, I took the first exit after that. And then I drove my car to a parking lot, and there was 3 Mexican guys in the back of a white Toyota. I remember very well. They were having their sandwiches, and I parked the car, and I said to my wife, just wait. And I went to talk to them, and I said, excuse me, could you tell me where I am? They look at each other like, tonto de la cabeza, too much pot, huh? I don't smoke pot, I don't even drink. No. So they really thought I was a crazy guy. Anyway, they tell me that I was after Los Angeles at the Los Angeles Zoo Okay. I said, okay. It take a second for me to evaluate. And I said, what time is it? And they said, it's 9 o'clock. I said, okay. So I went back to my wife in the car. I grabbed her hand and I said, honey, do you remember when I married you? I told you that I had some UFO things. And she goes, oh, leave me alone with that. Okay. I said to her, we are after Los Angeles at the parking zoo. She says, what? Next time I go through a city like Los Angeles, I'll see it, let me know. Okay, come on, don't be stupid. She could not accept it. Okay.
Oh, wow.
It took me over 2 hours to drive the 90 miles that we've been dropped 90 miles west, okay? I mean, north instead of west. West, I'll be swimming in the ocean. So what happened is it took me over 2 hours to go back. In order for me to do that, okay, because we drove about half an hour, okay, in order to be able to do that, I would have to drive a Lamborghini. I would have no traffic in LA and no cops to stop me when I drive at 200 miles per hour. Maybe I'd be able to do that distance. You know what I'm saying? So it's impossible. So what happened that when we arrived at the hotel, we were very close to the house. We were barely, maybe half an hour away from our home. How did we end up so far away after LA? Okay, so we were very, very confused. When we arrived at the hotel, so I booked the hotel room. Then she picked up the hotel and she called a friend and she said, "Okay, you need to come and pick me up." And then she ended up in Phoenix. She never stayed in the house in San Diego. She went to Phoenix and stayed with a friend because she didn't want to be close to anything or me. So I didn't understand. So anyway, after a while, I talked about my situation to somebody who knew a guy called Sean Atlanti. He was the director of San Diego Society, where I'm supposed to go and speak in November the 3rd this year. I'm going to be speaking for this group in San Diego. He told me, I'll tell you what, Louis, I have set up something with 2 top hypnotherapists in Victorville in California, and then you might have to take some sodium panathol, which is the serum of truth. Okay, right. Well, that's pretty serious. So I said, okay. A few weeks later, we were at that hotel. They had a camera set up, and they froze the first frame, and they froze the last frame, an hour and a half after. And I did not even move. My shirt didn't move. Make sure I was really under. 2 hypnotherapists got me under it. Okay? And then I was so amazed by their power over me that I decided to study, and I became an hypnotherapist, a clinical hypnotherapist myself. So basically, this is what I said in the tape. When I listened to it again, I was just blown away. What happened is, as we drove under the bridge, we were sucked into the belly of a flying saucer. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Now, listen to this. We are very, very high. Now, the 3 guys that I saw, those big, huge guys that I saw, the Nordics, the management, those big human form, okay, right, were there. They came to the car, one of them, and they opened the door. And I said to my wife, don't worry, been there, done that, it's all good, you'll be just fine. I kind of did not know what was going on, but it's like if I had an agreement, like it was okay. So,
wow.
And then next thing we know, I went into that little room, and I looked through a window, and I saw the earth the size of a football. So that tells you how far I was, and how high I was in the mothership. Very high. And then that room was like a decontamination room, okay? It was really, really hot. And when I start to complain, I'm really, really hot now, you can see me sweating bullets. You can see the water coming out of my head. I mean, I'm literally wet. I was going through that decontamination time. And then after a certain time, it was time for me to go inside of the flying saucer. This is where I saw those, what I classified as a kid, as a monkey with big eyes, which are the Greys, the dignified robots that are doing all the work, cutting the cow, taking care of the food chain, checking everything. They're just robots. And they were flying the saucer. They were doing the electronics. And then I went directly to a big screen, and that's where I saw my wife laying down on a glass table, and they were taking a fetus out of her. And incidentally, when I saw my wife after that, just before she divorced me for good reason, she showed me, she said, look at this. What is this? What is this? She showed me just above the airline on the right side of her tummy, she had like 2 inches scar that is very precisely cut. And then I saw them when they did that to her. And I was just watching and then like, okay, it's fine. And then I knew it was my time. I went to another room. I walked inside of that room, and I sat on a chair, and something came down from the ceiling. In fact, I had an artist drawing the type of helmet that came down all the way to my nose, so I couldn't see anything. This drawing is on my website. You can go and look at drturi.com, and you can see all the drawing, as much as the flying saucer and the Men in Black and Draco is all there on my website. So basically, when that thing came down, I imploded. It's like I felt every single thing. I felt electricity. I felt like concrete, glass. I felt fire, water. Every single element were combined together in my head. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing I know, I'm driving 30 miles per hour in the middle of the highway without being dropped back. I didn't know where I was. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And that's where it started. After that, I went home and I started to decorate my house, all my walls, all my doors, and you can see all the symbols and the UFOs and astrology, everything on my walls. You can see the pictures again on my website. It's right there for you to see. That tells you how traumatized I was after that experience, and the strength, the feeling, the obligation to dig into Nostradamus' work and rekindle his medical astrology and his 16th century divine methodology. And that led me to rebuild, to restructure, to reform a software that I had purposely done to do the charts like Nostradamus used to do 500 years ago. So when you
he was
look
a physician also, wasn't he, Nostradamus?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He Nostradamus, the essence of all those UFOs contact led me and turned me into an astropsychologist or an astrologer of the higher order, an astrophile, so to speak. So then I thought, okay, that is my mission. Then I start to imagine when my landlord, Michel, the one who gave me my first job, he gave me that house by the ocean. Imagine when he came and visited me one day, okay, and he saw his entire house being painted. I thought he's going to fire me. No. I explained to him what happened to me. He was just listening, and I did my first reading, and he was just totally blown away. Then he says to me, you're going to do a reading for my friend. His friend, he had only $15,000 that he wanted to invest in the business. I look at his stars and I said to him, you need to go and you need to do pizza. I don't know if you heard of California Wood Pizza.
I heard of them.
The biggest corporation of pizza. The owner is my second client. I told him exactly where to invest, and I turned this guy into a billionaire. He never gave me $100. No.
Dr. Turi, do you have any scoop marks or any marks, or do you have anything visible, or just a tattoo?
Yeah, absolutely.
That changes?
I have scoop on my left leg. In fact, I could take a picture of it. Sometimes the extraterrestrial, they took scoop on your flesh too, on your skin. So I do have very obvious.
I have a scoop by my right eyebrow. I wasn't born with it, but it's a scoop there. And other people have looked at it. Nobody. It's just a small scoop by my right eyebrow.
Well, yeah. Sometimes they took sample of your DNA for some specific reason, but in my case, it looks like if right from the get-go they prepared me to dwell into the subconscious and the spirit and help humanity to understand their connection with God again, so that we don't become like the reptilians. So that led me. Again, I thought this is it. This is my career now. I've been on TV, I've been on radio, I wrote books, I'm all over the place. I said, that's it. That's my mission. I don't think I have nothing to do with extraterrestrials again. Oh, was I wrong? You
have a cruise coming up, correct?
Yes, correct.
A cruise?
Yep, a couple, two. But what happened is that was in 2012, okay? In 2012. My wife says to me, I want to take pictures of the solar eclipse outside. So I give her the camera and I said to her, whatever you do, do not look into the lens. Okay? And then I went ahead of her, and then she goes, tuck, 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 tuck. She starts to click. Never done that before. Normally when you take a picture, you go one at a time. She just start to take 6 pictures, and I was in front of her with my arms right up, saying, "What the hell are you doing?" And then you can see again on my website, Draco, coming in the form of an orb that is far away from me, and slowly but surely moving closer. Then he gets right into my third eye, and he exits from my heart. When we developed these pictures, I said, oh my gosh. And some people say it's Photoshop. It's impossible to have a succession of orbs going from far away into your third eye and coming out of your heart. You cannot do that. This is real. And then that's where it started. I started to make predictions about earthquakes. I got on George Norrie. On Art Bell in 1995, I said to him to be ready for a religious war with America and the Middle East. That was in 1995, well before Saddam bin Laden, well before we invaded Iraq, well before ISIS. And then on George Norrie, I said, be ready for in 2 weeks from now, and I give the exact date, for thousands of people to be forced to relocate because of a hurricane. And then Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. And then I start to get more confident, and I email directly the French government and the FBI, telling them the exact date for the next terrorist attack. The next thing you know, twice the FBI came in my house.
Wow.
They came in my house and they said, are you a sleeping cell? They looked everywhere in my house. They asked for my papers. They checked every single thing. I thought they were going to take my computers now. And they told me, how the hell do you know? How did you get those exact dates? I said, but I do it all the time. It's impossible. They were kids. They were like 35, 40 years old kids, traditionally educated. So I took them in my office and I showed them what I do. And they were impressed, but at the same time, they never realized that they could use my cosmic wisdom to actually anticipate terrorist attacks. So I decided to stop. I decided to stop with terrorist attack and stay with earthquakes.
Oh no! So isn't that a shame? I mean, you could help so many people if they would only pay attention.
I signed not certified mail. Actually, I did, but I also signed email that you can read to the Seismologist Institute in Pasadena, to NASA, and to what's the name of this? I can't remember. It's on my website. But anyway, I told them, be ready in October, and I give 2 very specific dates in October to have earthquake above 7.0. And it did happen exactly on the date that I gave them, and you can read all that. And yet, they would never, ever, in a million years, connect with me because I'm not part of their clan. I'm not educated, I'm not a scientist. Meantime, I do better than all of them combined.
Better than that, yeah.
As far as giving them a specific timing. So if they were working with me, we could find the location and the timing. but they don't want to work with me. So it's very hard for me to follow the activation of the activity of the fault. But if they could use my methodology and their scientific, it will work. Because by the time you got that little needle moving, it's too late. I can give earthquake in 10 years from now if I have to. It's all mathematics. And they don't understand that. I'm using the same type of software that NASA used to send the shuttle, with the only difference that I understand that the planets are a little bit more than dead rock hanging there for the sake of beauty.
Yeah?
Now, do you feel that the Draco, the one that you work with, does he feel sometimes that, okay, maybe these earthquakes, that these people, you can't save everybody. Some people are meant to maybe kind of meet that kind of fate, or it's kind of in the divine cosmic order for people to experience these things, even though you tried to save them, you know?
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah. But you need, okay, so this is where it's important to start to understand the reptilians and the draconis. Okay, so this is how I do it when I teach my students or when I do a conference. Okay, we're gonna go with the basic. You cannot have a man without a woman, correct?
Right.
You cannot have a day without a night, a God without a devil, a yin and yang, a positive without a negative. Do we understand? You cannot have a God without a devil. We understand that?
Right.
Okay,
right.
That is the first thing they need to realize. Now, there is only two forces at work, the positive and the negative. Okay, now, you have only two groups of extraterrestrials, okay? The good one and the bad one. Now you have thousands of names attributed for those ETs. So to make it simple, one will be the falling angels and the other one the guardian angels, okay? Now, the guardian angels are the draconis. The falling angels are the reptilians, or what David Icke called the reptilians. Okay. The only problem is David Icke used to be a very close friend of mine during the day, and in 1995 he told me, Louis, I'm going to go and write a book on the reptilians, and I'm going to go in the Isle of Wight somewhere, and I'm going to be alone for a while. I don't want to be disturbed by anybody. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to be working. I have to have this book ASAP. I said to him, David, listen, I've guided you for years. You got all my books and everything else. The tail of the dragon is in your subconscious. Okay, what does it mean? He says. What it means is that you are going to be tapping on some force that you may not be able to control or understand, and that may make you confusing reality from imagination from reality. Okay. The next thing you know, it happened. David saw the reptilians, or what he called the reptilians, because when the tail of the dragon is in the subconscious, you are now allowed to tap on different vibrational system, and you cannot differentiate what's real and what's not anymore. So he was able, like you saw those little things when you were a little girl, he was able to see the reptilians, and he got frightened the hell out of himself. And he associated all the reptilians, or the reptilians as he called them, with only people like the Queen of England or Obama and all who has money and power. And I tried to tell him, David, no, everybody is under the jurisdiction of the reptilians. Okay, the reptilians, they will use legal or illegal drugs. Okay, the reptilians have created all religion because religions have created more death than all the disease and all the natural disaster combined together and all the wars combined together. Okay, they also split our languages because the reptilians can only survive with fear and negativity and chaos. The reptilians live, the base of the reptilians in our solar system is on Pluto. Pluto is well known by any astrologers to represent the Lord of Hell, the underworld. Pluto rules power, death, drama, the police force, the criminal elements, the rebirthing process, a worm in the water transforming into a butterfly, the reincarnation principle. So I try to explain to him all that. Okay? So when they are on Pluto, they have annexed this planet because it's a strategic position in our solar system. much like Putin annexed Ukraine or the Chinese annex a little island in the South Pacific Ocean because it's a strategic position. They travel in time and space through black holes. They are in dark matter at all time. And they can only survive with your fear, with your negativity, with chaos. They infect people in so many, many ways. For example, a young mother doesn't know better. She parties all the time. She drinks. She smokes pot. She becomes now very vulnerable to a reptilian infestation. Next thing you know, they go right inside a womb, okay? And what they do, they manipulate the genes. And now this child is born with autism, Down syndrome, gays and lesbians. Because gays and lesbians do not and cannot reproduce. That's why it's getting out of order, and more people are moving in that direction. But again, it has nothing to do against gays and lesbians, because they are my best friends, they are my students, they are my clients. They are smart, they are autistic, they are very, very human, very sensitive, and they have the same blood running through their veins. Just because they have been manipulated genetically by the reptilians that is now affecting their choice of partner, doesn't mean you have to kill them. A bunch of religious fanatics and idiots out there who do not know nothing about the reptilian infestation want to kill those people, those human beings, in the name of ignorance.
Do you feel that the Vatican Library, that is off limits to like everybody, has books or information about this, and they just don't want anybody to know?
Well, obviously,
Yeah.
The Vatican is a corporation, okay?
Exactly.
It's a corporation.
Moneymaker.
And you can see again on my website all the popes were taught astrology by the Vatican Council. You have those pictures on my website. So it is all set by the reptilians. Now, President Trump, for example, okay, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, okay, he has no bad habits, what we say. So how can he be infected? Because every word he comes out of his mouth is negative, right? Because he was born with the tail of the dragon in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules foreigners and foreign affairs and religion. So anytime he opens his mouth in that specific area, he is cursing the entire world. Because when you elect a president, you are forced to experience sins and virtue. It's like the German people electing Hitler. The German people were not cosmic conscious. They give power to a man who had the bad stars that were manipulated by the reptilians, and the end of the story, millions of people are dead. And I predicted 1 year after Draco entered my life. If you go to drturi.com and click on my blog, you are going to see the quatrain that I wrote about Hitler's spirit coming back on planet Earth. 1 year after Draco entered my life, I describe everything that's going on today, 6 years ago. You can
exactly. I follow you, and you're absolutely right.
Now, let's talk about the good guys. Okay. Now, the reptilians stimulate the mind of the scientists to create nukes, to weaponize the weather, art. They create scientists that create anything and everything that would kill. Okay, now, the draconis are elements of light. Okay, the draconis are coming from the constellation of Draco, and they feed from the sun, life force number 1. So, the draconis stimulate the mind of scientists to create technology to help your heart to get better, to help your heart to beat when you're supposed to die. They create technology to allow your eyes to see better, to do surgery. The scientific community is like a razor blade, depending if they are working for the reptilians or the draconis. Okay? So the draconis give human life. They give the power. They also interfere. They are not supposed to, by the grand cosmic order, no extraterrestrial must interfere with the human's affair. That is the law from the grand cosmic order. Now, the reptilians don't care about the law. They do all sorts of things completely against the law. While the Draconis have also the same power or more power, luckily for us, than the reptilians. But they do not interfere, or if they do manipulate the gene, is to create an Einstein, a Michelangelo, or George Washington, or maybe a Dr. Turi, or a Tesla. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you need to understand it's all about positive and negative, and it starts with yourself. It starts with the person in the mirror. If you're negative, if every single word that comes out of your mouth is to hurt others, you're not doing yourself a favor. You are building so much about karma that, let's say, for example, excuse me, all your life you are a racist. At the end of your number, nobody but you are going to judge yourself because you have been made in the image of God. You like it or not, you guys are goddesses in training on this dense physical world. You're creating your reality every single day. You have the same power as your creator. And when you die, nobody but you or God, when you go back home, judge yourself. So there's no lying to you. Then you realize you've been a nasty racist in this lifetime. Now you guess what? You are coming right back, but this time you're not coming back to the United States. As a privilege select, you're going back right in time and space. You're going back to Africa, and you're going to be born black, and you're going to be a slave, because in time and space is like a radio station. You can turn it into the past or into the future forever. And depending on your karma, you can go into the future or into the past, depending on where we are in the evolutionary system. Do that make sense?
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So,
yeah, there is no time and space. It's a loop, and then you can go. Sometimes a past life experience could actually be a very futuristic experience, and vice versa.
Yeah, it all depends where you're at and what you need to learn, because, you're not going to go to hell. This is hell. And all the people that are religious and negative, they are on hell because they're not opening to the Draconis. You can only win this battle against the reptilians with the same weaponry that they use. It's psychical. It's like fleas on a dog, okay? If you are giving these entities food, fear, insecurity, negativity, revenge, anything that is negative, now you are feeding the forces of darkness. You are feeding the devil, the demons that you're so afraid of. Now, if you turn around and start to aim for the light and give something every day like I do, okay, every single day you got to ask yourself, why did I give the world today? Are you a sucker or are you a giver? Because now you're putting points, you're putting money in your bank account for your next reincarnation. And that's why I decided to reincarnate myself in this dense physical world. And this is why I even contracted cancer and beat cancer, so I can help people to know what brings cancer, what creates cancer, and how to beat it naturally. So, it's all about positive and negative, and you in between. You have two eyes, two arms, two legs, two sides of the brain. You are symmetrical. You're like a battery. Each time you unplug yourself, you feed the reptilians. Each time you plug yourself, now you're gaining from the ultimate sources of the sun. You can create. You can help. You can be a beautiful, loving, considerate human being. And now you are progressing with the Draconis. But unless I'm allowed to gather a bigger stage, okay, there's no way that I can teach. So all the people that are listening to your shows, okay, and all the people that are going to listen to me on my next show with Kerry Cassidy on Project Camelot on the 7th, okay, and all the radio show that I did and I will do, you got to ask yourself, guys, okay, and I'm not talking to you, Sue, okay, and I'm not talking to the host, I'm talking to those who are listening. If you enjoy my work, if you've learned something today, okay, and if you do not share it, now you're working for the reptilians. Instead of benefiting from me, if you don't like my delivery because I'm too honest and you perceive me as an egocentric, that means you have an insecurity and an inferiority complex. Again, you're being sucked into the reptilian domain of supreme negativity. it is very, very crucial for you to understand that you have a choice, and it starts with you to promote, to share love, light, hope, security, and the future of humanity. Because if we don't, we are just that verge. Okay, humanity is at that verge where it's going to turn into a reptilian, a master of the matter, a master of science, a master of technology that will finally produce artificial intelligence, which will make these robotic human beings fabricated, duplicating themselves, and soulless, hanging around into the universe forever, wondering where they went wrong. That's where humanity is at. It is very, very serious to share that show that you heard tonight, to talk about Dr. Turi. Not to make me rich. I'm 70 years old. Okay, sometimes I wonder, I should just sell everything and then go to Florida and go fishing and be happy and drop dead in the ocean when I'm done. No, I'm still here. I'm still here helping you. Okay, so if Sue's giving you a platform for love and light, okay, and if anybody for that matter is giving you a platform for love and light, share it, and do not.
Now I have a question. We definitely know about the ETs and the extraterrestrials. How do you feel about people that have experiences where they actually see spirit of deceased loved ones, or I know, Sue, over in the UK, it's pretty popular, right, where they go around to different places that they feel are holding some type of energy or ghost hunts or whatever they do. Dr. Turi, do you feel that is a reptilian type of manifestation, or do you think they're interdimensional people that are stuck?
No, you're talking about your loved ones here. Now, you need to.
Well, what about the haunting ones where people have that negative experience or something horrible where there was a murder or something?
That's what it comes down. You have a little voice, okay? That's called intuition.
Right.
Okay, first of all, for me to answer that, I have to go back to the beginning, okay? You cannot be born unless you die, okay? So when the doctor takes you out of the warm uterine life of your mother and he cuts the cord, you die. You die to your mother, so to speak. You are not in that body yet. Now, the cold in the room, the smack on your bottom is enough for you to send your first impression to the superconscious or to God. And then another umbilical cord comes in that connects you with the design, with the cosmic design, so to speak. Okay? And that's why when you're very, very afraid, you feel that very warmth. If you are very close to die, you're going to feel that area around your tummy getting really, really hot, because that cord, that spiritual cord, is about to be cut off and you're about to die. Do that make sense?
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, that cord here is also called your guts, your intuition, your feeling. That will never lie to you. You have to learn to listen to it. Plus, you need to pay attention. Your subconscious is going to send you tons and tons of omens that you have to learn to decipher. Are they produced by the reptilians or the draconis? Let me give you another example. When I was in construction many years ago, the superintendent said to me, in front of the mechanic and another guy, you need to go on that slope and you need to finish it properly. I said, okay, I will do that, but I cannot do this with the articulated caterpillar. You need to give me a Michigan, which is a straight body. Okay, if I turn on the slope, I'm going to flip. He says to me, who's the boss here, you or me? So I didn't want to lose my job. I said, okay. So I did everything I could to work on the slope without flipping the machine. But when he told me to go right to the top, oh my God, as soon as I turned, that was it. This machine roll, I knew I was dealing with a stupid kid, okay? So I had the right door open, okay? And I just had time to jump out of the machine, and the machine rolled all the way down. And the machine ended up on the cabin with the 4 wheels up and died right there. Okay, the next thing I know, he fired me. Okay. All right, now, the night before, I had a dream. I was standing by my window, and I saw three crow. Okay, I got my gun. I saw this crowd, and I pop, pop, pop. I killed all of them. Okay, and then they fell down, and I woke up. I tried to make sense. Didn't make sense. Then after that, I've learned to decipher the dreams. The three crow that I killed was the three people that I was with, who actually have witnessed everything. Okay, but did nothing to help me. But there was another one, another mechanic guy who saw everything, and he's the one who went and talked to the boss. So the boss called me back, he gave me my job back, and he fired those three guys. So that's why you need to pay attention as far as omens and intuition is concerned. Your subconscious will give you tons and tons of information. For example, if you go to the dentist, believe me, you're never going to forget anything because you know you're going to get hurt. But if you go to your friends, you're going to leave your keys. You're going to leave your wallet. You're going to leave your coat. You're going to leave your umbrella behind because your subconscious wants you to go back. You need to pay attention to every little thing. Then you're going to develop an affinity, a connection with your subconscious. It's like
that makes a lot of sense. I get that.
Yeah, it's like if you put your T-shirt upside down, okay? If you are under one of your negative cosmic biorhythm, within an hour, within 5 minutes, or during the day, you're going to have a really, really, really bad experience. And if it's the opposite, well, you're going to have a good experience. But I've learned to develop that affinity with my subconscious. It's like talking to God, but you need to learn His language. And He can only speaks to His children via the signs. So,
So a lot of people are out of touch. They don't pay attention.
No, that's why my book, Beyond the Secret, is designed to teach you to be more conscious on how to use the superconscious where all the creative forces are buried. You are so much more than a human being of bone and flesh. My God, the problem is that, the scientists all believe that everything starts and finished within the mind. In fact, those idiots are spending millions to get the brain of Einstein and desiccate it to find out what the hell he was a genius. Well, let me tell you something. There is no difference between your brain, my brain, the one of Einstein or a killer. Is exactly the same. The same weight, the same constitution, the same wiring. It's encased in the bony head to protect the brain. So what makes it different? The UCI, unique celestial identity, or better, your spiritual DNA. Do you understand?
So many people are unaware of that.
No, they're too rational. They've been indoctrinated. They think science has all the answers. Those idiots think that one day they're going to live on Mars. My God, how can you be so stupid? First of all, we are already on Mars on a spiritual level and also with technology. Now, you got those young kids, 22, 23 years old, who wants to be the first one to commit suicide and go in a one-way Mars because they know it's one way, okay? You cannot even breathe on the moon, for God's sake. You cannot even live on the moon, and they want to go to Mars. But these are what you call the scientific, abusive, infected matrix. Those people are the parents. These are the kids of the kids of the kids of the people in the 50s that were paid by the government to develop the nukes. But they don't want to go to work. They want to make little robots. They have a tremendous egotistical, intellectual, educated pride, and they don't want to have a job like you and me. They're too smart. So what we want to do, we want to create NASA. It's a matrix, and we want your money. We want the government money. We want your donation. We're going to make you believe you're going to go to Mars so we can live happy ever after until this planet finally dies. Don't you think, $30 billion is what they need to hang around and try to go. Don't you think this money should be used to plant trees and go against deforestation? Don't you think this money should go towards a mother who has 2 kids that has to raise because her husband is in jail or a drug addict, don't you think those fortunes should be used properly for human beings instead of being invested to monetize the moon, okay, and sign only the billionaires because they're not going to sign you there. You won't be able to afford a few $1 million to go on the space station. You see, it's all about freaking money and deception. So,
do you think that's also part of the drug epidemic, especially with heroin now, that a lot of these places, certain cities, would have safe injection sites? You know, that is so crazy, you know?
The people are so depressed, you know. You need to understand, a lot of us, many of us, 3/4 of us, have had past life with disappeared civilizations. And those disappeared civilizations never built their building where they felt like. Those buildings are always facing specific constellation because all were astrologers. So when you watch Ancient Alien and they talk about ancient astronomers, there were no astronomy 150 years ago. They were only astrologers. Of course, they won't say that. You understand that? So
exactly.
The humans, those people during those days didn't wear shoes. They were constantly connected with Mother Earth. They walked on the beaches. They walked on the grass, on the dirt. They hacked trees. They touch pets. Pets don't wear shoes. That's why it's important to have a pet, because you recharge your battery. If you nowadays in this age, you're on carpet, you're on wood floor, you're on your tile, you're in your car, you're on the highway. You never connect with Mother Earth. So that gets to your head. You get depressed. You're trying to regenerate by using legal or illegal drugs, and that gets you into the reptilians that screw your head. The next thing you know, you want to kill yourself, and then you're going to kill a lot of people with you in the process, because this is what's happening in the United States.
You're exactly right.
Can I ask you, right?
Please.
I lost my brother 3 years this November, right? And he actually committed suicide. Now, the only way that I can explain his death is the fact that I feel like he was born too late. And the only way I can explain it is he was old-fashioned in his ways. Like, we'd be on our laptop in the house, say, one afternoon, just sitting there with a cup of tea on our laptop, doing whatever. He'd come in and he'd go, "What are you doing on there? It's a beautiful day outside. Get yourselves outside. Stop sitting in the house. There's work to be done. Come on, we need to be doing." He thought he was like his wife. He wanted to get a wife that would be at home waiting for him to have his dinner cooked and everything else. And it was just, I felt like when I looked after his passing, and the only way that I dealt with it to a degree is the fact that I feel like his soul was 70 or 80, but his body wasn't.
Well,
does that make sense?
What month was he born, honey?
January the 9th.
January the 9th. There you go. January is ruled and controlled by a planet called the Great Malefic, Saturn. In fact, England is a Capricorn country. Capricorn rules politics, the snobs, the rich, the queens, the privileged select. And that's why England happened to be, without England, there would be no politics anywhere in the world. This tiny little country, this little island in Europe over there, once upon a time used to be the most powerful country in the world. So England and Capricorn means building and structure and power, so to speak. So if you count 3, you're going to go into the mind of your brother from January, February, March. So your brother was a Pisces in his 3rd house, and this is the most sensitive sign of the zodiac, and he can go either up towards God, cosmic design, or down towards religion and drugs and depression. There is only 2 ways with Pisces. I'm a Pisces, and so was Einstein, Michelangelo, and George Washington. Okay, the positive fish has a tremendous work to do because he's in a river. 24/7, the river is going to go in one direction, and that is back towards the ocean. Now, your brother was like a salmon. He had to go back to his birthplace into the stars where God resides. But not the man-made God, because God never came down and wrote no books. He made the stars. So that's why a lot of people born in January are addicted. They have a very high addictive personality, and many of them are very religious. They're very traditional. That's a sign of depression. So if your brother starts to swim downstream, the current's going to push him into hell, because swimming upstream means turning yourself into a salmon. The current never going to stop, and worst of all, you have falls. You still have to swim back to your birthplace in the stars where you came from, where God resides. And your brother didn't have the guidance that he needed to swim upstream through his third house in Pisces. Now, what year was he born?
79.
Okay. I have to look at his dragon.
But the thing with him was, it was because me and my brother both fell out with my mum and dad. A lot of people don't understand how do you fall out with your parents. Long story. But a lot of stuff that happened to him when he was a kid and what happened to me when I was a kid because of how they treated us and everything was an impact on what he was like when he was older. But it was like he'd already threatened it. 15 years prior, he'd already threatened it. But he said because of me and my kids, he couldn't do it. But then he pushed us all away, and then he ended up doing it 15 years later.
What year was he born again?
79.
Okay, I'm looking at his dragon right now. He's a Pisces tail. Okay. Oh, my gosh. The tail of the dragon is right in his mind. Okay? Oh, my gosh. That's an open door to the reptilians. You know that little girl that killed herself, that Kennedy little girl?
Yeah, that was just in the news.
She had the same dragon than your brother. And you see what she
did?
She had all the money. She had everything she could. But since she was born, nobody was there to guide her to swim upstream towards a cosmic identity. She had no way to regenerate. And then you know what? There is a plague of suicide going on, and 3/4 of these people have a tail of the dragon in Pisces, the moon in Pisces, the rising in Pisces, or Mercury in Pisces, making them extraordinarily vulnerable. And the problem I have is that the U.S. Department of Education is not accepting soul's doctor like me to reach the children. It's all about religion, deception, or now science is their religion. Meantime, you will never, ever stop. Now, the kid that killed all these people yesterday, again, was a Pisces tail. This is very, very dangerous. This is why 10 years ago, I was on a TV show with George Norrie, and you can watch it from my website. George asked me, he says, Dr. Turi, how long do we have? I told him, we have 50 years. That was 10 years ago. And that was wrong. We don't have 50 years. Now I realize that. But I told him that if my student and I, we are now back in our college and university and reintroduce astrology as a solid discipline, the dead generation will be totally going out of order. And it's already too late. There is too much money being wasted for NASA going to Mars. Billions of dollars being spent on sports, entertainment, food channel, technology channel, which is very interesting and very educational. And as I said, it's okay to teach the children geography, to teach the children geometry, science, the art, languages, whatever, because those kids need to fit into this rational world. But who is there to teach them who they are, where they came from, where they're supposed to go, then explain to them their connection with the divine and God, cosmic divinity? Who is there? Nobody.
Yeah.
And I have all that, and all my students have all that. When are we going to turn around? Well, I don't give up, because the Draconis knows what they're doing. And then we are just finishing the age of Pisces. It takes 2,000 years for one age to force humanity to go under a specific karmic program. Last 2,000 years, humanity has created a myriad of religion. Neptune was deception, illusion. Neptune rules Pisces. The Middle East is a Pisces area. This is why all the deadliest, youngest religions were born in the Middle East. And they speak like fish. They speak under the water. You know, I'm using metaphor. I'm using metaphor so you understand. Meantime, the Arabs, the old Arabs, like the Jewish, before they go crazy in front of their war, they were teaching astrology. That's why the Muslims' flag is a star and is the moon. The ancient have the wisdom, but they lost it. Now, Pisces was poison, addiction. Pisces was oil. That's where you find most oil. It's in the Middle East. And all this deadly religion, Christianity, Judaism, Muslims, all born in the Middle East. So that's why these people are into their own cloud, into their own tank, and cannot understand the West, because they are under the jurisdiction of the most deceiving planet of all, Neptune. But without Neptune, there is no creativity, there is no imagination, there is no music, there is no dancing. Pisces was your feet. So if you start to have a problem on your feet, it's time for you to reconnect with Mother Earth by walking, or mostly by recharging your body, by walking between the breaking of the wave and the beach. It's very important to do that. And if you're afraid of the reptilians, do not sleep in the dark. You're dealing with dark demon energy. They love the dark. Have a little light. And if you want more protection, have running water, a little fountain. The negative ion of the water is perfect to attract the reptilians, so they will leave you alone. There is so many tricks. And if that doesn't work, well, then you're too infected and too depressed, and it's too late. Then get a talisman. There's so many things that you do not know that I'm trying to explain. Now,
that's
England
all true.
Yeah. England is a Capricorn country. Capricorn ruled old age. That's why people don't die in this country. They live forever. Capricorn rules classical music and politics. All that was created by the British. It's a cold place. Saturn rules the frozen food and the winter. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the great malefic. So a lot of people who live in England have a lot of problems because there is no middle class. You have the extraordinarily rich people, okay, and then you have the normal English people who are struggling every day. I know, I lived there for 12 years. I know what's going on. Now, France. Hey, France and Italy, we are a Leo country. Leo was love and light. That's why we say French are romantic. We are a nation of artists and lovers, okay, and even affect our language. If I said to you, I like you, vous êtes bien gentil et je vous aime bien, oh, ben c'est très bien. You see, the sound of French is light and is love. I can say the same thing in German. Du bist mein Ander und alles. Ja, du bist mein Ein. Okay, that's German, because Germany is controlled by Mars, the planet of war. And Hitler was an Aries. Aries, Aryan race. Aryan race, Aries. You see what I'm saying? Okay, and then that's where the German people are a warrior nation. That's why Mars is seen as the color red, which is the blood, to represent aggressivity and the stupidity of war. The ancient carved the rams. You can see those two rams getting away from each other and then coming, bang, and running off again, and bang. That's the sign of war. Now you give power to an Aries like Hitler in a country which is run by Mars, an Aries country. Now you have the Aryan race. And this energy.
Now the United States, were the moon, or do you go by more when the Pilgrims landed?
No, July 4, 1776, the United States is a cancer country. People die with a fork here. Too much food.
Yes.
Too much of everything. People get obese. America there's so much room, and this country can support the entire world with food. Okay? But then you have to take care also of the reptilians in time and space. Pluto was in the sign of Cancer when the First and the Second World War took place. Pluto is a planet of death and drama, which is where the reptilians reside. When he was into the sign of Cancer, Pluto destroyed home and family. Food was scarce. Houses were destroyed. That was the First and Second World War. After that, Pluto went into the sign of Leo, of love and light. And that's me, my generation, the baby boom generation. Pluto in Cancer is the baby wasted generation. So many kids were wasted during those 2 wars. And then the world replenished itself, supported by the Draconis, because now the Draconis has the sun working with them. So the generation, the baby boomers are a generation of the Draconis, of enlightening artists and spiritual, like me. That's my generation. Now you have the what you call in terminology, in scientific terminology, the millennials. Well, those are born with Pluto, the planet of fanaticism, into the sign of Virgo, which is a sign of health. Okay, they've turned themselves into vegetarian. They're fussy, they're picky, they're critical, they're scientists, they're agnostic, they're agnostic and scientists. That's the generation that you have. Each generation is controlled by a planet which is manipulated by the reptilians. I mean, the type of information I have to pass out is insanely important. It's critical for the survival of humanity. Yet, people are too busy watching football, porn, or watching entertainment than to take the time to listen to us guys. That's what it is.
So has anybody tried to phone in? This is fascinating.
Yeah. Do you know what? We've literally got one person that's calling. Let me have a look. None of the numbers that you've said, Lisa, to be fair. Let me just take this call in. Area code 917. Hi, welcome to the show. Hello.
Hey, do you have an old phone that's to record what they're saying? Okay, well, you always go back and listen to it.
I think they must be literally doing something else at the moment.
Yeah, they were on hold. They didn't realize we put them through.
No.
Well, you know how valuable it would be if everybody was educated. Then when you do have a child, you have more to work with if you understand what they're born with, how to help them expand other qualities and keep them away from the depression that a lot of these kids fall into.
You want to keep them away from the tail of the dragon, because that's the value of all your past lives. That
right.
Is all.
Right.
Okay, let me ask you a question then, another one for my own sake, right? My son is 20. When he was younger, he seriously was picking up psychic stuff. He could have been on the stage doing it. He was amazing. The stuff that he was coming up with, he was looking back. He was talking to an ex of mine and telling them about what was happening to them when they were 8-year-old and what was on their dining room table, newspaper, everything, right? Anyway, he came to me one day and said that his room was literally full of, of people, and Mum, they're doing my head in. They're waiting to talk to me, and I don't want to talk to them. And it was all different spirits were actually in his bedroom waiting. And he said, Mum, I don't want this anymore. So I had to give him the protection bubble to make sure he was okay, because it was stressing him out. And he is now, literally, I'm going to say, when he's not working, most of the time, he will be on a PlayStation 4 up in his room. And to me, as a mum, I just see him as a waste. He's such an amazing lad who could be so much further, and I worry about him. He's literally told me that he's even seen my granddad, and he said, Mum, he was at the back of the car waving to us. Didn't you see him?
Well, you know what? Your child is obviously gifted. But again, there is one very thin hair between divine information and pure imagination. And in order for me to see the difference, I would have to see his a connection with the divine. I have to look at his celestial identity, at his cosmic design, so to speak, find out if the subconscious is affected by, for example, the planet Uranus. So now you have a genius who can see into the future. You want to make sure you don't have Neptune affecting the subconscious, and especially you got to make sure that your child is not, I'm not saying he does, but you want to make sure he doesn't do any legal or illegal drugs, because that is definitely reptilians that may mingle him with that world until you get lost into it. If you want to dwell into the subconscious, you better be aware of the mechanics running your subconscious. Again, one more reason for those who are interested in my work to put their hand on my book, Beyond the Secret. Now, you're going to learn a lot about the subconscious here, but it's 600 pages, something I cannot teach you today.
Now, where do we get this book, Dr. Turi? Is that on your website?
Yeah. You go to my website, and my website is a labyrinth. It's a 1970 website, and I'm not going to change it because you do good soup in old pot. I leave it as it is. So you click on one link, it's going to lead you into a road which will never end. So you need to go back. But basically, you have books, you have services. In the bottom of each one of my newsletters, you have every one of my books. If you're interested about knowing about the power of the dragon, another 600-page book with very small font. I'm a writing machine. I channel when I write.
I actually own that book. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, if you look at the Amazon. What Amazon says, he says, you open this book, you cannot put it down. The problem is I signed a contract with a publisher when I was a kid. I didn't know better, so they're selling all my books and I get no money. So if you order something, you got to order from my website.
Okay.
Don't go to Amazon, because Amazon have all my books, but it goes in the publisher's pocket, not me. I was young.
The Power of the Dragon is an excellent book. I have that book for anybody who's interested.
Thank you. The other one is In God Created the Stars. He gives you the dynamics, the basics of astrology. Another one is I Know About You, but that is more for my students. This book is perfect to read somebody like I do in a matter of a second. But in order to do that, you have to be fully cosmic conscious. And to do that, you either have to be with me for a week, 6 or 7 hours a day, or take my home course and digest the 16th city and the software. And then you can read that book, I Know All About You. If you go to a bar and, when I do a contract, very important meeting, I know you guys, so I go straight to say, give me your date of birth. But when you give your date of birth to somebody like me or any of my students, and now you're giving your life away. Because luckily, all my students, I check them, and they have integrity. They are not going to use the power for the reptilians. They're going to use it to guide you. The ego will be cast aside. You'll be number one. That's what I do when I do a reading on Skype. Okay? So I Know All About You is for advanced students that I took my course. For those who want to start, I Know All About You, The Power of the Dragon, I Know All About You, The Power of the Dragon, and God Created the Stars, and to those who are really spiritual and psychics, Get Beyond the Secret. That's the best way to describe my books.
Okay.
Now, I have something going on. As you know, I have a conference, a UFO conference coming up. And we're going to go to the Mexican Riviera. We're going to go to the Mayan pyramids. And I'm going to be speaking on that ship. I'm going to go there for a week. So I gave 5 people the opportunity to join me, and now 3 already did it. I have 2 more people. I'm giving a $700 reading for free if anybody comes to join me in that cruise in October. So
listen, there's 2 right bloody here we would love to, but we just can't afford to right now.
I know, honey. I know. So $700 is a lot of money for people. Okay, so I have all the reading for $300. And I always give my best shot anyway. So, but there are people that are very wealthy and they can afford it. So, but I make myself available and affordable to everybody. To talk to my wife, Taranya, email her, and she always works out deals with people that are in need.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Your other book is good too when you do the Dragon Report.
Hear that one at a time.
No, I said you also do the yearly Dragon Reports also?
Every year. Right now, I used to sell it for $30. I brought it down to $10. It's called 2019 Nostradamus Dragon Forecast. It tells you everything that happened with England, with Brexit. It tells you everything about the government shutdown, the situation in the United States, universally, and he also tell you exactly where all the slow-moving planet and the dragon is affecting you personally. So that's called Nostradamus Dragon Forecast. It's only $10. The new one will come out at the end of the year, the 2020. That comes out every year, and it sells pretty good. So for that amount of money, for $10, at least you can know where your dragon is going to change, where Saturn is, where Jupiter is, the Lord of Luck. And anytime you push towards Jupiter, you're going to get blessed. You're going to get your wishes. So these are all sorts of things that I offer at various prices, all the way to $1,500, the price of a course, all the way down to $10 and in between. Now I'm planning to have my course on my private website. I have another website. No, drturi.com is the public website. I have another one called the Cosmic Code, and we are about to put the course available. So instead of paying a tremendous amount of money, you can pay and watch and study one CD at a time, or a few hours at a time on that CD, which will be downloaded in our website. So that's the new thing we're going to do in the Cosmic Code. The Cosmic Code, if you become a Cosmic Coder, we guide you every day. We tell you where the moon is, if she's waxing, she's waning, and in what sign. It's like a different horoscopes, and also SOS to the World window for earthquakes. This Cosmic Code, we have about 10,000 people there, which I reach regularly.
Now, your next SOS to the World is the end of August. Is that correct, or?
Say that again, honey.
Your next SOS to the World is the end of August. Is it August 27th?
Well, it changes. 22nd? It changes. There is 4 SOS to the World per month. There is 4 times where those windows are going to kill people that are being used by the reptilians. So I give specific dates, and that window lasts all the way to the next window that can last 2 weeks at a time, so to speak. But I give the exact specific date of the most concentrated energy, like I spoke about shocking, explosive news, and next thing you know, these people have been killing each other some places. So, joining the Cosmic Code is like, being taken care of directly by my wife and I through our forecast. And then you can always ask questions. You're a VIP, so we take care of you. And we have a chat room there. People tend to read more than talk in this website. They go and visit different area, the Indian area, the spiritual area, the course area. There's a lot of options, but the most busy area is the daily guidance and predictions, where we tell you every day what type of energy you are into and what to do, what not to do. It's just a guide. It works pretty good.
Right, we've got a caller just waiting on the line. Let me just see if we can bring them in. One sec.
Sure.
Area code 713. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi there.
Hi, who are we speaking to?
This is Janae.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Yeah, not bad, thank you. Have you got a question for Dr. Turi or Lisa?
Yeah, I was just fascinated by what Dr. Turi was saying about the different countries. I'm very new to all this, so I found it very fascinating as far as like how the United States is cancer and based on birthdays, and I just thought it was fascinating. So I was just calling in just to, I guess, say that. And I have children, so I'm worried. I would like to know about, based on what my child is, what to watch out for, or how I find out that information.
All right, let me tell you something, honey. If you go to drturi.com, on the top of my website, you can click on the sun sign of your child, and you're going to get it for free. It's a generic of what's going on with your child by the month he was born. It's like it's not a full horoscope. It's an explanation of his UCI, his unique celestial identity. So you could do that, because I know you're in England. I know you have kids, and It's very expensive, but what I would suggest you to do is this, because it's free, and that we.
Okay.
How many kids you have?
I have 3, but the one in question is at 7. So the other ones are grown up. They're 27 and 23. So, yeah.
All right. So basically, you know the months they were born. You know if they are Leo, Pisces, Aquarius, or whatever. You have the basics on my website. Now, if one of them has a problem, and then that you don't want to, it's difficult to say so, but if you go through traditional means and let them see a psychologist or psychiatrist, the next thing you know, they're going to put your kids into medication. And that is a big no.
Tried. They already tried, and I said no. So I'm
so you're being
getting
smart.
other avenues. Other avenues, definitely.
So
what month was your child born, Janae?
July 9 of 12.
Well, this is a mommy baby. Those kids born in July are, cancers. They are completely under the jurisdiction of the moon. They do not know that, in fact, anybody born in July should never put his nose outside, not knowing if the moon is waxing or waning or in what sign. Being a moon child, you are affected by our closest satellite, and the moon regulates the emotional response to life. That's where the word lunatic, moody, crabby comes from. In a time of a full moon, people go crazy, and you cannot put your ring or take it out. So the moon is doing a lot of stuff on those born in July. Now, if you're a water sign, you're Pisces, you're Scorpio, you have a moon or a rising or a dragon, again, you're going to be under the same moon power. And that's why my website is designed to do $10 a month, okay? Then you can learn especially your cancer kid, because he regenerates with this thing. However, he's fussy, he's picky, he's detail-oriented, he's into health, and he might like food, but he does not know he's under the jurisdiction of the moon. And that led me to make you aware that the extraterrestrials, the Draconis, when they build this solar system, they took the moon from Jupiter. Jupiter has a lot of moons. So they're going to take one from Jupiter, and they brought it, for the lack of words, with a very, very sophisticated nuclear device from their ship, strong enough to move the moon without breaking it. That's why the moon is loaded with crater. And then we are next door. We are 250,000 miles from the moon, and we don't have all those craters on the Earth. See?
Right.
So when they design our solar system, they pick the moon because the moon regulates the emotional response to life. And then you have some UFO speakers that tells you the moon is hollow, the moon is UFO base, all this bull. These people have no cosmic consciousness. If the moon was hollow, she wouldn't have enough gravitational forces to make it to orbit around the Earth. People are just imagination, no logic. So, as far as your cancer kid is concerned, I would strongly recommend him to join the Cosmic Code and get his guidance every single day until he understands his connection with the moon, and he does it on his own.
Okay. The mom, I will help them because I'm also Cancer, so I'll help him. Well, I just don't have a Leo rising, so I can help him with that. But again,
that's why that's why you're so much into your children. I mean, the moon is the mother. Without the moon, there is nothing. And there was a time where the scientists in NASA were planning to blow up the moon. I mean, if you take the moon out of away from us, there is nothing. There is no tide anymore. The moon creates the tide twice a day. The moon is the essence. She's the mother of Earth, literally. It's so much power behind the moon. So you're a lunar child, so you should know everything about the moon.
I should. I will learn.
Do you know where your dragon's tail is or your dragon head is, Janae?
I think my dragon head is Sagittarius and my tail is Gemini. But that's all I.
What year were you born? What year were you born?
74.
June, July. Do you have any neck problem
July.
or not? Do you have any neck problem?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say problems. I deal with it, but
Yeah. Okay, because if you're born in July, your dragon is Scorpio. Your head of the dragon is Scorpio. Your tail is Taurus, and that means problem on the neck, thyroid gland. Do you think you are kind of a? I gotta be honest with you, okay? Taurus is a big sign. Taurus is big muscles and big bones. Do you see yourself skinny or more on the bull side?
Oh, I'm very small, very petite.
Very petite.
Yes.
He said that so politely, didn't he?
No, I'm very honest. That's the way. Now, you never had any problem with your throat, your thyroid gland?
Not that I know of. No.
Good.
Yet.
I want to hear that. I want to hear that. Believe me. So you have just stress on the neck. Okay. So you're dragging. Yeah. All right. Have you ever broken an arm or a finger?
I've just broke one ring finger. That's it.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. That confirms that your dragon is Caspin. You have your dragon is Caspin, which means your dragon set is half a Gemini and half a Sagittarius.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. You cannot go out there and cut it off. So if you had a problem, if you broke a finger, you definitely have the Gemini. So that's good. Radio, communication, languages, ADD, action, curious. So this is all good. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's great to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. Like I was saying, I go to Japan, I go to France, I go all over these countries, and I never understood. I thought it was climate that changed their attitudes and how they are and how they care about different things based on their food or how cold it is there. But this all makes 100% sense.
Well, I'm glad you can relate to my work, honey. I'm really, really happy you can connect with us. And again, thanks, Sue, because if it wasn't for Sue, a Gemini sun sign running your head of the dragon, you would not have benefited from this show. So you did because your cosmic energy is working with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And thank you, Lisa, for putting us all together.
Yes,
I'm fascinated by everything. So, totally fascinated. I mean, you learn so much just in this short amount of time on the phone.
I am so glad I can bring some sense to this craziness on this planet here. And I'm glad to have celestial sisters working in the same direction than I am. So to me, it's a blessing to be able to have you guys to help me and pursue to have that channel to share such dramatic, such important information to whomever is listening to the show. I repeat myself, you've got to be part of the solution. If something resonates with you, if something makes sense to you and you agree with it and you enjoy it, you have to share it. Remember, what do you do for the world every day? If you think, well, I'm a nobody, what can I do? Man, you are so wrong. You can do so much by just sharing Dr. Turi's wisdom and Sue's wisdom and whomever guest she's inviting. It works.
Do you know what, Lisa? Isn't it funny? How many times have I done statuses on Facebook recently in this last week or 2 weeks where I've actually said to people, everybody wants a media voice for the voiceless, but nobody wants to share it.
Nobody wants to share it. And sometimes, Sue, I can't even share your post, and I don't know why. Like somebody's orchestrating something.
Well,
yes, definitely.
Lisa, this is how it works. As I mentioned earlier, I'm sure you heard it, Facebook is controlling the amount of people that can join you. I'm at 5,000. That's it. In the past, I had websites, and I still have one, which is Alien, the Final Revelation. I have over 10,000 people there, but they stopped me. I cannot go there. I cannot post there. I cannot edit there anymore. So it's a page which is hanging in out there. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they see that you become popular and you don't invest in their advertisement, they'll find a way, technologically speaking, to make sure whomever created this page cannot go back there. So this was my most active Facebook. In nothing time, I built over 10,000 followers. and now I cannot do anything anymore. And they limit me at 5,000. So that's why. That's why the people who have the money, who have the power, there is so many people listening to your show too. And you're really new, Lisa. You'll be amazed. And so many of these people have so much money, but the greed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
They want to give them to their children, which probably going to use all that money being spoiled like hell to smoke pot and to die early. You know, when actually they could invest some of their money on people that have something very real to offer that not only is going to help their own children, but the children of the world. Imagine what type of karma that is. Imagine how many lives you're saving. You may, in the process, you might become a terminal. You know, a terminal means that you have learned so much during this lifetime. There is no reason for you to come back to this low density world. That's where, as a goddess in training on this dense physical world, you have learned to create your reality. So now, when you die, you immediately create your reality. So you create a new butterfly, new flowers, new form of life, new of everything. You become a co-creator. You don't have to come back here anymore. You can go.
Where do you think we go, Dr. Turi? Do we go to a different dimension or a different level of consciousness when we come back?
It depends. You don't have to come back. I came back. I choose to come back to help the human race. What I did is basically back away and to jump higher, so I can rest a little bit more in the aquatic lake world, in paradise, as you call it. But ultimately, you need to understand we all have a connection to each other's. God is too big to come down to this dense physical world. It's like you, if you wanna look inside of a bag, you ain't gonna go into the bag. You're gonna put your hands, okay? And your fingers, you only have 5 fingers, okay? But at the same time, imagine an unlimited amount of fingers. So that you are God now. And then don't think those fingers are just fingers. Inside those fingers, there is valleys, there is forest, there is oceans, there is birds singing, there is wildlife. So you are a God to a myriad of worlds below you that are praying for you. That's why it's so very important to be positive, to be healthy. So, in other words, you are hearing the prayer of all the underworld that are below you that needs you, the ultimate God, which you are connected to another one above that, and it's forever. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense.
It's
totally
pretty deep
makes sense.
stuff. It's pretty deep
Definitely.
stuff. You're not just a human being born in flesh and live and die. No. There's so much more behind all this. There is no death. It's just a recycling to a higher vibration. Okay? It all depends on your karma. You decide where you're going to be born, when you're going to be born, and you decide who you're going to have as parents. Now, your parents didn't pick you. You pick your parents. And sometimes
no way. Oh, my God. I'm sorry, I can't possibly take that. How on earth did I pick my 2 pair?
You had a lesson.
Oh, jeepers, George. They must have had me blindfolded and put earplugs in my ears and I didn't get to see them. There's no way that I would have personally chose my parents, let me tell you.
Karma leads you to experience that for very specific reasons that Southern Alpha cannot explain to you. It's like me, I love my parents dearly. But man, they haven't been the best. Believe me. Believe me.
My God.
I was in the streets, and there are. Let's say, for example, you're not supposed to remember whomever you were and whatever you did, unless for specific karmic purpose. Like me, I remember very clearly my last life because there's a recurrent dream that I explained earlier. Okay, but most of the time. If you are in the situation you are and you have chosen those parents and you have chosen this situation, it may be because that will stimulate you to be a better mother with your own kids.
See, that I can't argue with. I do try to be the best I can for my kids.
Well, because
you're
you
a
don't
good
want to
mother.
go through
You're very good.
You don't want to go through the hell that your parents put you through. So you're far away from that. But that is a reason. Now, your parents didn't ask for, they actually choose their own parents, okay, also. And then God knows what your parents went through that you will never know.
Oh, no. Hold a minute. My dad, like, his mum and dad were poor, but my nan is like my angel. She was like the mum that if I was going to choose a mum, I would have chosen my gran.
Exactly. The same with me, Sue, with my mother-in-law. She was absolutely phenomenal. I still miss her so much. She did so much more as far as love is concerned than my own mother. Okay?
Yep.
That's just the way it is. Because that lady that you connected with, the one I connected with was a Pisces. She was a loving heart. She has the same stars than me. She had the same dragon than me. She was a replica, the same cosmic winds were making up our celestial identity. So she knew what I needed, and she gave it to me. Okay? So it's
same
called
as my mom.
Karma. You needed to attract this to grow in some area or to repay some karma. And it doesn't matter, because whatever hell you went through, it's so little compared to what some of the people have experiences that you could not even bear for a second, the way those mothers have treated their kids.
Yep.
So
do you know
you survived it.
I'll tell you what, you saying that, I'll tell you a little thing. My headmaster wrote in my autograph book, he wrote, if we were all to put our troubles in a heap and equally share them out, we'd only be too glad to take back our own.
Yep, that's pretty deep stuff.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
But do you know what? I cannot believe we are down to the last 6 minutes. I am like 4 hours chattering.
Well, this is fascinating.
Well, you know what? As I said earlier, time flies when you're having good time, and it takes forever when you're having bad time. So I'm glad. That's a confirmation that I did a good job for you guys and for your audience. And I just hope now they're going to be participating again in sharing that wisdom, and then promoting your show and checking my website, and then do their part.
Well, we're going to be putting it onto YouTube tomorrow, and all the links will be on the YouTube and everything for you as well. Dr. Turi, I'm hoping that every month you will come and join us, because I know Lisa is going to literally stand by me this. This has been absolutely brilliant tonight. And if you want to do a monthly show with us, we're in. Am I right, Lisa?
It's fascinating. It's fascinating. People have to know about this.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that very much. So I've been a regular host in many, many shows. I can do also many readings and help all these people if I have to do that to make your show more interesting. However, it'll depend on the response of the people on that show. I have to stand on my ground. If there is no enough interest, if there are no enough drive to promote it, I cannot, just keep feeding the people that don't deserve that wisdom if they don't share it. So at that point, I do not know. I have a good feeling, though, don't get me wrong. I know my words have paid off. I know they paid off. And I'm a very, very busy guy. But if I have time, you be sure I'll be back. Yep.
Excellent. Listen, thank you very much, Dr. Turi, for coming on. And please say a big thank you to your wife as well, because I know she's been emailing me back and Sue. So give her a big hello for me as well.
You got it. Thank you so much for having me again, Sue. God bless you. Lisa, same to you, honey. Goodbye, guys.
Okay. Good night.
All right, then. Bye-bye. Lisa.
Good night.
Good night. Lisa, what an absolute amazing show.
It was fascinating. I'm definitely going to check all my kids' birthdays right now.
We're going to be on there all the time. Lisa, very quickly, I must say, drturi.com. Have a look at that. Lisa, what's your website?
It's lisabarretta.com.
Excellent. I'm not joking. I've got 3 minutes, but it's like I want to go, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like absolutely blown away with that. Anybody who wants to, we're literally going to be putting the links onto the Ask Sue Radio Show Facebook after the show. If anybody wants to come and like comment on there and let us know what you thought.
And share it too, please. Share the show.
As I say to the grandkids, sharing is caring.
That's right, Sue. Well, thank you for having me. It was fascinating, as usual.
Oh, Lisa, thank you so much for putting me in touch with them and everything. It's been absolutely brilliant.
And it must be late there, so you sleep tight.
Hey, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I've done too
Good night, Sue. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, then, love. Catch you later. Ciao, love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I just want to say a big thank you to absolute everybody who's been supporting the show, everybody who's literally been sharing and caring. Thank you very much to Dr. Turi, to Lisa Barretta, to the people who have called in, to every single one of you who's listened. I want to say a big thank you to every single one of you who's going to share. I need you to get this show out there. We're going to put it onto YouTube, so have a look for the official Ask Sue on YouTube channel. Subscribe and share. And also on the Blog Talk Radio, make sure that you follow the show because we'll be having other shows just like this with more, hopefully, Dr. Story, Lisa Barretta, and also the psychic shows. And obviously, we just need to get it out there. Do you know, humanity starts at home, and it starts with us all making a difference. I have every single day when people literally send me various videos about animal advocate work and everything that I do as well. And everybody says, why do we need to share it? Nothing's going to happen. Do you know what? Nothing happens until we do something, until we share, until we make a difference. And the one saying I always seem to repeat is, nothing changes until something changes. What can you do today, if you're at 2 o'clock at UK time, what can you do today to make a difference? What can you do today to put a smile on somebody's face? Every single person is a mother, a daughter, a son, a father, whatever. Just make a difference to one person. Let's share the love out there and let's make sure that we get this show out there so everybody knows exactly what's going on. You know, we've got loads of predictions and everything that we can be giving to people about maybe it might be an earthquake, maybe it might be a tornado, whatever it may be. Let's see if we can get these predictions out there because we could actually save lives with this too. I'll be honest, I sat here like literally only about a month ago and I wouldn't have believed half of what I've heard today, but it's been fascinating. Anyway, I'm going to love you all and leave you, and I'll just ask you to please join us on the Ask Sue Radio Show on Facebook and also asksue.co.uk. Thank you very much to everybody, and please continue to follow the show. Thanks very much, and good night, everybody. Bye-bye.